Today, we are going to learn the exact steps that can unlock your brain, upgrade your memory, and help you remember anything you want forever. If you have ever forgotten a name just seconds after hearing it, or if you have studied for hours only to forget everything during an exam, then this video is for you. Welcome to English Listening Lab. This is not just another video with 5 quick tricks. This is a deep, powerful system to transform how your mind works. And the best part? This video is also excellent for your English. As you listen to these life-changing ideas, you will practice real, clear English, improve your vocabulary naturally, and train your ears to understand complex thoughts. We are going to explore 12 fundamental steps. If you truly apply them, you will never forget what matters again, and you will finally trust your mind. Let's begin this journey together. Step 1. Understand how memory works, the library of the mind. Before you can learn how to remember everything, you must understand why you forget. Most people believe they were born with a bad memory. They say, "I am not smart," or "my brain is just weak." But here is the truth. You do not have a weak memory. You have an untrained one. To fix your memory, you must understand its structure. Imagine your brain is a massive, beautiful library. Every time you learn a new fact, a name, a date, or a new English word, it is like putting a new book on a shelf. But what happens in a library if you just throw the book on the floor? What happens if you don't put a label on the cover? You will never find it again. It is not gone from the library, but it is lost in the noise. This is the difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a small whiteboard at the entrance of your library. You write a telephone number or a grocery list on it. It stays there for a few minutes. But as soon as something new happens, you wipe the board clean to make space. This is where most people keep their information. They hear a new word, they put it on the whiteboard, and then they wonder why it is gone an hour later. Long-term memory, however, is the permanent collection of books deep inside the library. Once a piece of information is moved there, it can stay for a lifetime. The secret to a genius memory is learning how to move information from the temporary whiteboard to the permanent shelf. Think about a time you met someone at a party. They said, "Hi, I'm Jason." You smiled, talked for a moment, and walked away. 5 minutes later, you couldn't remember his name. Why? Because your brain didn't think Jason was important. It stayed on the whiteboard, and then it was wiped away. Now, imagine if you had connected that name to something else. Imagine if you had repeated it. By doing that, you start the process of moving the book to the shelf. Memory is not a mysterious talent. It is a mechanical skill. Like riding a bicycle or playing the piano, you can get better at it with practice. If you keep throwing information into your brain without a system, you will always feel frustrated. But starting today, we are building a new system together. Step 2. Pay full attention, the door to the mind. Here is a brutal truth. Most of the time, when you think you forgot something, the truth is that you never actually learned it in the first place. You don't have a memory problem. You have an attention problem. You cannot remember what you did not see clearly. You cannot remember what you did not hear with focus. Your attention is the door to your library. If the door is closed, no books can come in. Every day, your brain is attacked by millions of pieces of information, sounds, colors, messages, noises. If your brain tried to remember everything, you would go crazy. So, your brain has a filter. It only opens the door for things you truly focus on. Imagine you are getting out of a taxi. You are tired, you are checking your phone, and you are thinking about your dinner. You pay the driver and leave your bag in the back seat. 5 minutes later, you cry out, "My bag. What was the license plate of the car?" Your brain gives you nothing. Why? Because you saw the car, but you didn't look at it. You heard the driver, but you didn't listen. The door to your memory was closed because your attention was on your phone. Now, imagine if you had paused for just 3 seconds. You look at the car, you see the number 847, and you say it in your head. That small act of attention opens the door. In your English studies, it is the same. Many people put on a podcast while they are cleaning the house or driving in heavy traffic. They hear the English, but they are not paying attention. Then they feel sad because they don't improve. You must realize that your mind must be present. If your mind is not here, your memory won't be either. The modern world is designed to steal your focus. Social media, notifications, and multitasking are training your brain to be distracted. To fix your memory, you must fight for your attention. From now on, whenever you want to remember something important, a person's name, a beautiful quote, or a new grammatical rule, stop, pause, look at it, listen to it. Give it 5 seconds of pure, undivided focus. This simple habit is the foundation of everything else. Step 3. Turn words into pictures, the language of the brain. Now that the door of attention is open, how do we store the information so it stays? You must speak the language of the brain. And the brain does not speak in letters or numbers. The brain speaks in images. If I say the word home, you do not see the letters HOME in your mind. You probably see a building, a specific room, or the face of your family. You see a picture. This is how evolution designed us. For thousands of years, humans didn't have writing. We had to remember which plants were safe and which animals were dangerous by using our eyes. If you want to remember anything, you must convert abstract words into concrete pictures. Words are boring to the brain. They are flat. But images are alive. They have color, shape, and emotion. Let's look at an example. You meet a woman named Lily. If you just think, her name is Lily, you might forget it. But what if you imagine a large, bright white lily flower growing out of her hair? It sounds silly, right? But that is exactly why it works. Your brain loves things that are strange, funny, or unusual. If you are learning English vocabulary, don't just look at the translation. If you want to remember the word enormous, don't just think very big. Imagine an enormous mouse, as big as a house, trying to fit into a tiny car. See the mouse's ears hitting the roof. Hear the sound of the car braking. Now, the word enormous is connected to a powerful, funny image. You have created a mental hook. Memory champions use this for everything. If they have to remember a number like 2, they might imagine a swan, because a swan looks like a 2. If they have to remember 0, they imagine a ball. By turning dry data into a movie inside their heads, they can remember thousands of things. You can do this too. Every time you read a page of a book, try to see the scenes. Don't just read the words. Watch the movie in your mind. If you are studying for an exam, turn the facts into a cartoon. When you start thinking in pictures, your memory becomes a vault that never leaks. Step 4. Use the story method, the narrative magnet. Your brain is not a computer hard drive that stores files in separate folders. Your brain is a narrative machine. We are wired for stories. Think about it. Why can you remember the plot of a movie you saw 10 years ago, but you can't remember what you studied in a textbook 3 days ago? It is because the movie had a beginning, a middle, an end, and a story that connected everything. Most people try to memorize lists of information. A list of English verbs, a list of tasks, a list of history dates. But a list is like a group of strangers standing in a room. They don't know each other, they don't talk, and they don't have a reason to stay together. So they leave. The story method is the magnet that holds these strangers together. When you connect facts into a story, you create a chain. If you remember one part of the chain, it pulls the next part into your mind. Let's try a real exercise. Imagine you need to remember these 5 random English words: mountain, umbrella, piano, watermelon, and key. Instead of repeating them like a robot, let's build a story. You are climbing a giant mountain made of chocolate. Suddenly, it starts raining lemonade. So you open a bright yellow umbrella. Under the umbrella, you find a tiny piano playing itself. You sit on a giant watermelon to listen to the music, but you realize you need a silver key to turn the piano off. Now close your eyes. Can you see the chocolate mountain? Can you hear the lemonade rain? This story is impossible, and that is why it is unforgettable. The brain loves novelty, things that are new and strange. In your life, use this for everything. If you are learning how a business works, don't just learn the rules. Imagine the business is a character. If you are learning English tenses, don't just look at the table. Create a story about a character named Past Simple, who always lives in yesterday, and his friend Present Perfect, who started a job in the past but is still working today. When you wrap information in a story, you give it context. Context is the glue of memory. Without it, information is just dust in the wind. With it, information becomes a solid structure in your mind. Step 5. Practice spaced repetition, the rule of timing. Many students believe in cramming. Cramming is when you try to put all the information into your head in one night before a big meeting or an exam. You study for 6 hours without stopping. You feel like you know everything. But 2 days later, 80% of that information is gone. Why? This is because of the forgetting curve. Science shows that as soon as we learn something, our brain starts to delete it. It's like writing a message in the sand at the beach. If you don't do anything, the waves of time will wash the message away. Spaced repetition is the art of coming back to the beach and writing the message again just before the waves wash it out. Each time you rewrite it, the letters become deeper. Eventually, You are not writing in sand anymore. You are carving the message into stone. The secret is in the intervals. If you learn 10 new English words today, don't review them 50 times in 1 hour. That is a waste of energy. Instead, review them after 10 minutes. Review them again after 1 day. Review them again after 1 week. Review them again after 1 month. Each time you do this, your brain receives a signal. He is looking at this again. It must be very important for survival. Let's move it from the temporary whiteboard to the deep vault. There are many digital tools today, like Anki or Quizlet, that use algorithms to show you words exactly when you are about to forget them. This is the most efficient way to learn a language. But even without technology, you can use this principle. Don't try to be a hero who studies for 10 hours once a week. Be a consistent learner who studies for 20 minutes every day. Consistency is the father of memory. Step 6. Emotional connection, the heart of memory. Have you ever wondered why you remember your first kiss, or the day you got your first car, or a time you felt very embarrassed in school? You didn't try to memorize those moments. You didn't use a mind palace. You simply lived them. You remember them because they were emotional. Your brain has a small part called the amygdala. Its job is to process emotions. When the amygdala is active, it tells the memory center, the hippocampus, pay attention. This is a big moment. Save every detail. This is the most powerful shortcut to a genius memory. If you want to remember something, you must make yourself feel something about it. Logic is weak, but emotion is strong. How can you use this for boring things, like learning English or work facts? Make it personal. Don't just learn the word success. Think about the most successful moment in your life. Remember the smell of the air, the sound of people clapping, and the pride in your heart. Connect the word success to that feeling. Use humor. If something is funny, you will remember it. If you are learning a difficult grammar rule, make a joke about it. Find the why. If you are studying something and you feel bored, you will forget it. Ask yourself, how will this information change my life? How will it help me help my family? When you find a deep reason to care, your memory opens up like a flower. In English Listening Lab, we use this principle by telling you stories that touch your heart. We don't just give you grammar, we give you inspiration. When your heart is open, your brain learns 10 times faster. Never study when you feel like a robot. Study when you feel like a human being. Connect with the beauty, the tragedy, or the joy of the information, and it will stay with you forever. Step 7. Teach what you learn, the protege effect. There is an old saying, to teach is to learn twice. This is not just a poetic phrase. It is a scientific fact. In psychology, this is known as the protege effect. When you prepare to teach someone else, your brain organizes information in a completely different way. It looks for logic, it simplifies complex ideas, and it identifies gaps in your own understanding. Most people study as consumers. They read a book or watch a video and hope that the information stays in their heads. But when you become a teacher, you become a creator. You are no longer just looking at the map, you are building the road. Imagine you just learned a new English phrase, for example, to hit the nail on the head, which means to describe exactly what is causing a situation. If you just read it, you might forget it. But if you go to your friend, your spouse, or even speak to yourself in the mirror and explain, "Hey, I learned a cool idiom today." Imagine a carpenter hitting a nail perfectly. It means being exactly right. For example, when you said our car is broken because of the battery, you hit the nail on the head. By doing this, you have forced your brain to 1. Retrieve the information from deep memory. 2. Translate it into your own words. 3. Connect it to a real-life example. This process creates a permanent neural pathway in your brain. You don't need a classroom to be a teacher. You can start a blog, write a comment under this video, or explain the lesson to your dog. The key is to get the information out of your head. Information that stays inside often rots. Information that is shared stays fresh forever. Step 8. Create a mind palace, the method of loci. This is perhaps the most famous memory technique in history. It was used by ancient Roman orators to remember speeches that lasted for hours without using a single piece of paper. It is called the mind palace, or the method of loci, which means places. Your brain is evolutionarily designed to remember space. You might forget a phone number, but you never forget the layout of the house where you grew up. You know exactly where the door is, where the windows are, and where the kitchen table stands. The mind palace technique uses this spatial memory to store abstract facts. How do you build one? First, choose a place you know perfectly. Your current apartment, your office, or your favorite park. Now, imagine yourself walking through this place. This is your route. Next, you place the things you want to remember along this route. Let's say you want to remember a shopping list: coffee, honey, and bread. At your front door, imagine a giant cup of coffee spilling over the floor. You can smell the beans. In the hallway, imagine the floor is covered in sticky, golden honey. Your shoes get stuck as you walk. On your living room sofa, imagine a giant loaf of bread watching TV. When you are at the store, you simply walk through your house in your mind. You see the coffee at the door, the honey in the hallway, and the bread on the sofa. It sounds like a game, but it is the most powerful tool for memorizing long speeches, complex lists, or even entire books. For English learners, you can have a vocabulary house. Put all your action verbs in the kitchen, where things happen, and all your descriptive adjectives in the garden, where things look beautiful. Your brain loves structure, and the mind palace provides the strongest structure possible. Step 9. Review before sleep, the midnight librarian. Many people think that sleep is dead time when the brain turns off. This is a huge mistake. Sleep is actually one of the most active times for your memory. While you sleep, your brain performs a process called consolidation. Think of your brain at night as a librarian. During the day, you threw thousands of papers and books onto the librarian's desk. It's a mess. At night, the librarian goes through the pile and decides what to put on the permanent shelves and what to throw in the trash. What you do in the 10 to 20 minutes before you close your eyes is like giving the librarian a priority list. If the last thing you did was scroll through stressful news or random social media videos, your brain thinks, this must be important because it's the last thing he saw. It wastes energy processing useless noise. Instead, use this golden window for your memory. Before you go to sleep, spend a few minutes reviewing the most important things you learned that day. Read your English notes, go through your mind palace, or think about the 3 main steps of this video. When you do this, you are telling your brain, this is what matters. Save this. While you are dreaming, your brain will work for you, building stronger connections and locking that information into your long-term memory. You will wake up the next morning with a clearer mind and a stronger memory. It is the easiest way to learn. You are literally learning while you sleep. Step 10. Write things down. The physical save button. In our modern world, we type everything. We send quick texts, we write emails, and we take notes on our phones. But science tells us something very important. Typing is not the same as writing. When you type, your fingers move in almost the same way for every letter. It is a mechanical, fast process that doesn't require much brain power. But when you take a pen and a piece of paper, something magical happens. Writing by hand is a complex motor task. Each letter has a unique shape. Your brain has to work harder to coordinate your hand, your eyes, and your thoughts. This extra work creates a much stronger memory trace. Think of writing as the save button of your brain. When you hear something and you don't write it, the information stays floating in your mind. It is unstable, but the moment you write it down, you ground it. You make it physical. For English learners at English Listening Lab, we always recommend keeping a physical growth journal. Don't just listen to this video. Write down the title of each step. Write one sentence about how you will use it. When you write, you are telling your brain, I am serious about this. This is not just a video. This is a lesson for my life. Also, writing helps you organize your soul. If your mind feels full and you can't remember anything, it might be because you are carrying too many worries. Write them down. Once they are on paper, your brain feels permitted to let them go. This creates space for new, beautiful information. One page of handwritten notes is worth more than 1,000 digital files that you will never open again. Step 11. Active recall, the mental gym. Most people study by rereading. They read a page, then they read it again, and they think, yes, I know this. It looks familiar, but familiar is a dangerous trap. Just because you recognize something when you see it doesn't mean you can remember it when you need it. The secret to a powerful memory is active recall. Instead of looking at the information, you must try to pull it out of your brain. Imagine your memory is like a muscle. If you want a strong muscle, you don't watch other people lift weights. You lift them yourself. Active recall is lifting weights with your brain. After you finish a section of a book, or after you watch 10 minutes of this video, stop. Close your eyes. Don't look at your notes. Ask yourself, what were the last 3 points? What did I just learn? At first, it will feel difficult. You might feel a little pain in your head. You might think, oh no, I forgot. But that struggle is exactly where the learning happens. When your brain struggles to find information, it builds a stronger, faster road to that data. The harder it is to remember something today, the easier it will be to remember it tomorrow. Don't be afraid to test yourself. Use flashcards. Cover the definitions of new English words and try to say them before you look. If you make a mistake, that's great. Mistakes are the best teachers. Active recall is the most honest way to study. It shows you exactly what you know and what you don't know. It turns you from a passive listener into an active genius. Step 12. Protect your mind from overload, the art of silence. We have reached the final and perhaps most important step. In today's world, our biggest enemy is not a bad memory. Our biggest enemy is information overload. Your brain is like a beautiful garden, but if you let every stranger throw their trash into it, the flowers will die. Every notification, every short or reel you scroll through, every piece of useless celebrity gossip is mental junk. When your brain is full of junk, there is no room for the things that truly matter. You must be the guard of your own mind. You must decide what is allowed to enter. If you spend your morning scrolling through social media, your brain is already exhausted by 9 a.m. You haven't even started your day, but your mental cup is already full. To have a great memory, you need mental white space. Practice digital fasting. Give yourself at least 1 hour a day without any screens. Find silence. Spend 5 minutes every morning just breathing and being still. Be ruthless. If an app or a person only brings noise and stress into your life, mute them. Memory is not just about what you put in, it is about what you keep out. When you have a clean, quiet mind, your memory becomes naturally sharp. You will find that you can remember names, facts, and English sentences much faster because your brain isn't busy fighting a mountain of garbage. Protect your mind like you protect your home. We have traveled through 12 powerful steps today. We have learned that your memory is a skill, a garden, and a palace. We have seen that you can use stories, emotions, and even your sleep to become smarter and more fluent in English. But remember, information is only potential power. Real power comes from action. Don't try to change everything today. Just pick one step. Maybe you will start writing things down, or maybe you will start reviewing your lessons before bed. At English Listening Lab, we believe in you. We believe that your mind is a miracle, and with the right system, you can achieve anything. You are now better prepared to learn, to remember, and to speak English with confidence. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If this video touched your heart or helped your mind, please subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us continue making deep, meaningful content for you. Your mind is now ready. Go out there and make your life unforgettable. We will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.